here as well. Go live. And now it says it's connecting. So I think that's it. I think we're live. Yep, I think that was my little ding. Okay, I even got a ding that we're live in the group. So hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm super excited about today. Today we are going to be having an amazing discussion with this beautiful Anna Herendeen. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We are going to be discussing everything that has to do with hormones and how it is that we can ensure that we eat the right foods and care for ourselves, and so it's in sync with our hormone cycle. Now, this is something I'm personally very interested in. I'm very looking forward to this a lot. And so as you guys are listening to this, feel free to say hello, ask any questions you have. If you're watching this on replay, say replay. I'm sure we'll both go through the comments later and answer if they have any later comments as well. So settle in, get comfortable, and we'll just go through this. So as you guys know, I'm Brittany. Good to see you. Welcome to the group. This is also exclusively for you guys in the group, okay? So this is something special that we whipped together for you guys. So let's just get into it. Maybe I'll do a little bit of an introduction of Anna, and then we'll kind of go through some questions and flow from there. And I'll do my best to keep my eye on the questions. Oh, hello, Robin. Hello, Nina. Welcome, you guys. I can see the comments, so this is great. Everything's working.
I cannot see any comments, so if there's something that you need to read to me, please do that.
For sure, 100%, 100%. Cool. So let's, I'll read a little blurby here, okay? So you guys, this is Anna. She's a sparkly-eyed mom of 2, educator and encourager. She empowers women to eat and exercise in harmony with their hormones so they can feel their best all month long. Born and raised in the Midwest to a dairy farming family, life has taken her to Peru to teach English. That's very cool. To DC area to teach Spanish, and then to North Carolina to raise her family. Educating women about their hormones and empowering them to take action and make lasting changes in their health is her mission. Yes, awesome. I'm really excited to have you. And you guys, if you want to get in touch with her, I'll make sure I put all the links at the bottom as well for you guys to check out later. But let's just dive right in. So maybe tell me a little bit more about how you got into this, Anna. How did you get started in this path and working in hormone space?
Sure, 100%. I really feel like it's been a guided journey. And I know a lot of your audience, a lot of my audience, like I'm a spiritual person. I totally believe in divine guidance. Whatever you call that divine, whatever word you assign to it, it really is divine guidance. I did teach English for a little while in Peru. I taught Spanish for a long time in Northern Virginia. But when we moved to North Carolina to raise our family, and I was just like, I cannot go back to the face-to-face classroom. My heart is not in it. My passion is not there. I love my students and I love the work I did, but it was just, I just knew it was not for me anymore. So I don't know if I can tell you how many date nights my husband and I had where I literally sat there like the majority of the time going, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm not sure about it. Like just that searching and that desire to align with what my talents are and what my skill set is, and like mesh them into something I'm passionate about. I was just really open to learning what that might be. So my personal health journey started about 3 years ago now, coming up on 3 years ago, where I was literally searching for something to take away or to fix, the exhaustion, the mental burnout, the brain fog, just like all the boxes in my life had been checked. Why aren't I happy? Why am I not happy? Like I'm sure so many people can relate with that. So, I fixed my nutrition. I started exercising. I mean, I did all the things. And through that process, I became exposed or aware of women who teach about our hormone cycles. And I started to do the things they were teaching. And it upped my health even more. Because what I did first was I fixed the deficiencies. And then once those were stabilized, then I could then start to work on up leveling a little bit. So I'm hoping we can talk a little bit today about kind of like what are some deficiencies and how you can align them with your cycle and like all the things. I'm sure we could talk for an hour, but that's my journey. And as I've been studying and learning and implementing, it's really become a passion of mine and a zone of genius of mine to take. Oh shoot! thought I had it on mute. I'll turn on mute right now. A passion of mine to take like my skills as an educator and to help make somewhat complex subjects really easily accessible to people who don't want to study it themselves, like all the research. They just want to say, what do I need to do? Help me. So that's where I'm at.
Yes, and that's why we need you to distill everything you've learned. So that's beautiful. And I resonate with everything you said, and I know our people will as well, because we are the same. We just kind of live by like, what would you have me do? What am I supposed to do here? And I feel all of us right now are being guided to like, how can I be most optimally healthy so I can best, help my family and the world. So this is beautiful. I love talking about this. So maybe just so we have an overarching picture of our hormone cycle, so we can just like start there, then we can build on that after. So maybe go through with us what our hormone cycle even looks like.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's really important for us to understand what the word hormone even means, because when I did a kind of survey on my Facebook page, I'm like, what's the first word you think of when you think of hormones? And the replies on that were pretty negative, in that people feel like they're frustrating, overwhelming, and they're in control. But I think when we define what a hormone is, we can start to kind of grasp onto how we can work with it. So a hormone is literally think of it like a chemical, right? It's a communication device that our body uses. Hormones, think of them as little messengers. So when you feel under stress, your body goes through this process and it produces a hormone called cortisol. And that cortisol takes messages to the cells of your body so that the cells can take action. So it's a little bit like hormones are the moms of the body, right? Mm-hmm. Like we direct, we tell people where to go, what to do, etc., and then they have to take the action. And just like, our kids can go tone deaf to us and not hear us, our cells do too. So when our cells aren't receiving or the message isn't right, then the function, the action doesn't happen in a way that we want it to. And then we start experiencing all the dysfunction of our system. So if you think of hormones as messengers that send a message to a cell or a gland or an organ to do an action, that will help you understand. So I like to say that there are 5 main female hormones that we need to be aware of. Okay. The first ones people usually think of as estrogen, right? Because that's what we all lose when we go through menopause, right? Everybody kind of knows about estrogen. But the top hormone you want to think about is actually your cortisol, your reaction to stress. Then the next one is insulin, because your insulin helps stabilize your blood sugar. And women with PCOS, like they know insulin resistance is a thing. That's kind of one of their main things. Then we have estrogen, we have progesterone, testosterone, and then there's 2 other hormones that help regulate ovulation. But the 5 again are cortisol, insulin, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. So if we think about, like, that's our whole systemic hormones, like the ones that run the show. But if you want to focus on the ones that are called the sex hormones, those are mainly estrogen and progesterone. Okay, so you with me so far?
Totally. Yes,
okay.
This is great.
So I'm going to use my hands here because I can't draw anything. But think of this, right? Okay. Yeah. Our body, there's a study called chronobiology, which is the study of the rhythms and routines of our body systems. And just like the moon has a cycle, just like we have circadian rhythm cycles, we have day and night. The world and our bodies are full of rhythms and patterns. And the female hormone cycle is very rhythmic. Okay. So day 1 is the start of your bleeding. And that's called the menstrual phase. It's going to last about 3 to 7 days, depending on you. Okay. Mm-hmm. During your menstrual phase, think about it like this. This is estrogen. This is progesterone. I'm going to do it back. Is this one on the right for you?
This one is on it's actually like you're mirroring me, so that you'd be on my left.
Okay, well.
But that is the right. You are my, oh man. It should be flipped normally. Like if I held up something, you should be able to read it.
Okay. Yes, I can read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So I'm just going to assume that this one is right.
It's accurate. Yeah.
All right, it's accurate. Okay. All right. So in the first part of your cycle, which is your menstrual phase, so day 1 of your cycle, your estrogen and progesterone are at their lowest levels.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why you don't have much energy, why you might feel like just bleh. All right, that because it's at its lowest levels. Okay, now as you go through your menstrual phase, that's like 3 to 7 days, what starts to happen is estrogen starts to rise. And if you think energy, estrogen starts to rise, and this is your follicular phase. During this phase, I call it's like your phase to get sexy. Okay, because you have energy, your mood is up, you want to socialize, your skin gets better, you kind of have that
lightness.
That lightness. Because our bodies want to reproduce. And the next phase, because estrogen's high, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you go through your follicular phase, the end of your follicular phase is when your ovary releases that egg. So it was your sexy phase because now your egg's available for conception. And and the more attractive we are to the opposite sex to continue this DNA reproduction of the human race, it makes sense that the estrogen phase is the phase where we feel our best.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you ovulate. That can, like, that whole process, 3 to 4 days. Okay. So estrogen is up, but progesterone has also started to climb. After you ovulate, estrogen's going to come down, and progesterone is now going to be your dominant hormone. Progesterone is the hormone that maintains, like, estrogen is used for it as well, but progesterone is the one that makes the uterus really comfy for a fertilized egg.
Okay.
So you need it. Okay. You need that to happen. But it's also the phase when we start to feel more and more yucky.
Okay.
It's the opposite of the estrogen phase.
Okay.
So think about this. Have you ever, like, set a goal, like, right after you're done with your period? You're like, oh my gosh, I am going to start XYZ. And you, like, do it for a week. And then you're like, what happened to that? I don't know. It's because, you know, of that ebb and flow. Yep. So after you ovulate, okay, so your estrogen's coming down, your progesterone's coming up. After you ovulate, your progesterone is high. Now you're in your luteal phase. And that can last between 12 and 14 days.
Oh, wow.
Now, during the luteal phase, your estrogen will come up just a little bit right before they both come down again. And that drop in both hormones is what triggers your period coming.
Ooh.
Okay. So as you think about it, estrogen is low, progesterone is coming low. That's why during that week of PMS, we start to feel just not great.
Not good. Yeah.
Also, progesterone naturally slows down the digestive tract. That's why we might feel bloated. Our poop changes. If you heard of period poops, right? It all has to do with our hormone system. During your estrogen phase, so during that follicular phase, your digestive system is running really well. So you might not, you're not experiencing that bloating, etc. So that's kind of a brief overview of what happens during the female hormone cycle. Now, that is somebody who is not using a hormonal birth control or not using a birth control at all. Like, I use the copper IUD. So it's birth control, but it's not pushing any hormones into my system. Yes, it's pushing a little copper into my system, but for me, that risk is, you know, the benefit for me outweighs the risk. Because with any birth control, there's risk and there's benefit. Right. So I will never tell a woman she should get off birth control. That's between her and her doctor.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you are on a birth control, you might be saying, well, what about me? Okay, so hormonal birth controls, what they do is they say, all right, I don't want you to do this on your own. You're not going to ebb and flow like this. I'm going to pump out an equal amount of estrogen and progesterone every day. So your cycle looks like this, little spikes of each day. So you never get that estrogen, which triggers some other things that trigger ovulation. So you don't ovulate. You don't get that progesterone, like, peak. So you're like, it's just, you don't ovulate. So it doesn't trigger this rhythm. But what happens, like, if you're on a birth control where you end up taking placebo or sugar pills, what happens is your body is like, oh, I'm not getting that estrogen, progesterone, both levels drop. And it triggers withdrawal bleed is what they call it. Yep. That's why your periods are lighter on birth control, because it's not actually a true period. Your body didn't actually fully
go through the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on a hormonal birth control where you never like drop that, where you don't have the sugar pill, you don't have the placebo pill. Right. Every day, day, every day.
Right.
So you'll never get that drop in hormones, which signals your period.
Yes. Oh, this stuff is so fascinating.
Yeah. But
Okay,
I'm sorry, one other thing.
Go ahead. Yes.
Is people always ask, can I eat and exercise in harmony with my cycle even though I'm on birth control? And the answer is always yes, because your birth control hormones are suppressing your natural rhythms, but your natural rhythms are still there. They're just not as big.
As dominant. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's amazing. Awesome. Well, this is great. Awesome. Yay. Okay, nobody's asked any questions, but I love you guys. Yours started today, Nina. Mine started 2 days ago. So we're like on the same phase. Okay, so I wanted to ask here, in regards to the foods that we should eat in these different cycles, what are some foods that you would say we should eat to complement each of these phases of our hormones?
All right. Do you have a pen and pencil?
Yes. Oh, I've been going.
Okay. So if anybody watching, if you have a pen or pencil, you can grab some notes real quick. Do this. Okay. So think about your first half of your cycle, so your menstrual phase and your follicular phase, as more of your cooling phase. Our bodies have energetic temperatures, and foods have energetic temperatures. So anything you can lean into during your first 2 weeks, call it, think of cooling. So, you know, mints, lemons, cucumbers, that sort of thing. Also, more raw fruits and vegetables are great during that time. Specifically during your menstrual phase, I have notes here because obviously I can't have this like memorized, right?
Yep.
During your menstrual phase, a really good grain to incorporate is buckwheat. Mm-hmm. A really good a couple of good vegetables to incorporate during your period are kale and mushrooms. And some fruits that are great to use are blackberries and blueberries. It's because their nutrients are giving your body what it needs to do the period and to start preparing for the next phase. Yeah. All right. So during your follicular phase, like the time where you're starting to feel that really good energy, a couple of grains that are really good are barley and wheat. Obviously, if you're gluten intolerant, don't do the wheat. Okay. Vegetables like broccoli and zucchini. And you might think, well, broccoli is it can be gassy for people. So this is a good time to eat your broccoli because the digestive system is cranking better than it is later. So don't eat broccoli right before your period. Like, you're just asking for gas. All right. And then during your follicular phase, again, that's right after your period, lemons, grapefruits, avocados. Okay. Yep. All right. You ready for more? Yeah. All right. When you're ovulating, those 3 to 4 days, good grains are corn and quinoa. Corn can sometimes be irritating to people for their guts. So if that's, obviously don't eat that if it's not for you, but corn tacos, like the corn tortilla shells. Just did that yesterday. Right. Vegetables that are great during ovulation are asparagus, eggplant, and spinach. And for fruits, think of raspberries, strawberries, cantaloupe. Now, as you switch into your luteal phase, again, this is the longest phase, 12 to 14 days. A good grain is brown rice. And your vegetables, cabbage, cauliflower, cucumber, sweet potato. Now, I'll give you a hint here for when you're in your luteal phase, the more you can cook and warm up your vegetables, the easier it is on digestion. So think about like the first half of your cycle doing more raw or kind of crunchy or like roasted. And then as you go into your luteal phase, the softer you can get it before it goes in your body, the better. Beautiful. Stews, soups, like all of that. Yep. And then for fruits during your luteal phase, apples, peaches, and pears are really good. Yep. So food does play a super important role in our hormones. I know it's one of your upcoming questions. So lay it on me. Do it up. Trying to get it through. Do it up. There is some science to back it, but of course, some people are like, that's just holistic health theory, and it doesn't it's not true. But some science has been proven to show that when you are in a birth control, it can actually be depleting to some of the nutrients in your body. So it's important to make sure that you're supplementing those nutrients either through foods or through supplements. So I want to give you a quick list of the things that can be depleted if you're on birth control. And that is B vitamins, so like riboflavin, B6, B12, and folic acid. So if you have a B complex that you take, make sure it's a good quality one, because you can take it, but unless it needs to get absorbed in the gut. So again, we can talk about gut health here. Okay, but make sure you're getting your B complex, especially if you're on a birth control. Also, vitamins E and C are depleted, as well as magnesium, selenium, and zinc. So how can you get those? Through food. Okay. The number one food for female hormones, if you're like, I'm going to just do one thing because I can only handle one, leafy greens. Do you preach this too?
Yeah.
Because they have all of those things.
Yeah.
Like if you can think, how can I get a leafy green at every single feeding? I grew up in a dairy farm, right? It's a feeding. Okay?
It's a feeding.
Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. A leafy green vegetable. And if you aren't able to actually like eat them whole foods, get a supplement. I have one I can totally recommend. It's organic. It's wonderful. I'm sure you could recommend some too, but like using a greens in powder form is a phenomenal way to get that 1 to 2 servings in. A couple other foods that help restock that depletion are almonds, lentils, avocado, salmon, chicken, and yogurt. Yep. So whether you're plant-based or you're meat-based or you're kind of a blend, every woman could benefit from leafy greens, almonds, lentils, avocado. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
You like said my dinner tonight. That's like what we're eating for dinner.
One thing that's pretty amazing to eat, like the week you feel like you're PMSing, is we call it eggy toast, but get a really high quality whole grain, or you can use like a slice of sweet potato that's like thinly sliced, and you can roast it or whatever you want to do, however you want to cook it. And then cook yourself an egg. And if you want to leave out some of the fat content, just do egg whites. Okay. And then slice up an avocado and layer that. It's just avocado toast.
Yep.
Because it's got the protein from the egg white. It has the super healthy fats and fiber from the avocado, as well as its nutrients. And then the toast or the sweet potato is your really good low glycemic carb. So it's a perfect combination of carb, fat, protein. And I probably 3 times a week during my PMS week, I will eat that. And it really helps to support my nutritional needs as well as my nutrient needs.
That's amazing that you say that, because intuitively, like that's what we eat over here, and it's around that time. And so I was just PMSing last week. I had it like 3 or 4 times, whole grain toast with avocados and eggs. It was like, it just is so good. And then I always talk about putting my pickled red onions on there, because I'm just like ridiculous at weird food combinations. It's so good. But that's amazing. And like this ties into everything that I teach. I think a lot of this too is like tuning into yourself and being like, what does my body need right now? And really listening and knowing that your body's speaking to you, and that it's a real thing, that if one day you're trying on something, you're like, oh my God, I feel good, I look amazing. And then you try it on another day and you're like, oh my God, this doesn't look or feel as good. I think what's important in that is to not beat up on yourself thinking that you've done something wrong. Instead, realizing that the bloat is happening and the feelings are happening because your body is going through its own natural hormone cycle, and you want it to do that. Right? So this brings that idea of just like self-love and self-care into every single aspect of the month, of the cycle, and know that your body's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, whether it's bloated or not. And don't try and change that. Right. Just try and nourish your body in the way that it needs to allow it to optimally function during each cycle.
Because the more you self-criticize, you are literally giving your body reasons to stress.
Right.
Go back to the beginning. The number one hormone, top of the food chain here, is cortisol. And if your cortisol levels are consistently too high, it'll trigger bad things when they're and you'll get adrenal burnout, fatigue. I know it's not technically a medical term, but then you'll be at low cortisol, which presents a whole other set of problems, which then knocks off your insulin and then your estrogen, progesterone. So literally, the movement that we hear so many women speaking so powerfully about self-love, self-care. We really need that as part of our holistic health.
Yeah.
It's not just counting calories. We've got to stop just counting calories. Yeah. We have to. Yeah. And I said just because we do need to know how many calories we're taking in, because we do have physical needs.
Right.
But we shouldn't be obsessively going, oh my gosh, I'm like right before my period and I went up 5 pounds. What have I done wrong? Your body made more blood or a baby.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't
Yeah.
mean you'll have a period, great.
Yes.
You'll drop 3 pounds.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. I love it. I love it. This is almost just like holding space. You've given us the language and the visualization to like have the container to understand what's going on in our bodies so we don't have to like fight it so much. Right. And to really realize like how important nourishing ourselves is in alignment with those cycles. And also, like you're saying, and like I preach all the time, self-care and like self-love is number one, right? Because yeah, then we can do all these things naturally and we're more able to hear ourselves and hear what our body needs when we're not kind of like beating up on ourselves during these different cycles, which I have done. Like I even asked my husband, we're on guard when it comes to this time, because like mental awareness and consciousness of how you're thinking and feeling is an essential practice, especially in the phase when we're leading up to our bleeding time.
Yeah, and that completely ties into how you're moving throughout the month. Like I like to call it movement, not exercise, because exercise, like people just go, they shut down. Right. They have such negative reaction, but movement. Right before your period, like literally, don't go to the gym and try to do a hardcore cardio muscle. Actually, your body does not want that.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful time of the month to practice that meditation, self-care, internalization. It's a perfect time to like set your goals for the next month and start to manifest them and practice your gratitude. Do your stretchy yoga. Do like lift weights, like do the ones where you're practicing toning, so it's light weights. Don't do all the crazy plyo, like exercise is such a key component to this too. And if you treat it like movement and align it with your cycles as well, the beautiful things can happen.
You know what I would love with this is maybe I'll bring you on another day and we could talk about exercises specifically, because I've also been recently asked about like the exercise routines that I do and stuff like that. And I would love to talk about that, because I do the same thing. There's certain times of the month where I'm focused solely on restorative, where I can hold one stretch for my leg/hip for 5 minutes and 5 minutes, just totally restorative. Take that time, be still, be breathing, be present. And then there's other times where I just want to kick butt and like, lift huge weights and like, do whatever I'm going to do. But it definitely is different timing. But I never really knew why. I've just really honed in on the skill of listening, intuitive eating, and intuitive exercise and stuff. But that's what I want to help people get comfortable with. And I think having this framework of understanding what the hormones do helps us to do that. This is amazing. Let me see if anybody has any questions.
Okay.
We're doing fabulous, though. I think this is great. Nina, I heard that if you have a lot of extra estrogen in your body, that you tend to be bottom heavy, which I am, she says. Is there truth to that?
Yes, there is. Now, if you go to a medical doctor and you say, I think I have estrogen dominance, they're going to be like, there's no such thing. Okay, that is kind of a holistic health term. But what it means is when you think of that you have high estrogen, it means estrogen is high in relationship to the amount of progesterone you have. So if you can raise your progesterone levels a bit, your estrogen won't be so high. Or if you can clear some of your excess estrogen and bring it back down a little bit, your levels will be a little bit more in sync. So how does estrogen get kind of stuck in the body? Okay, because your body has natural ways to get rid of your excess estrogen. I mean, your body sometimes produces more than it needs, or as estrogen comes down, it needs to like clear out, right?
Right.
So, if your body can't properly like get estrogen out of your body, it's going to put it into the fat cells because it can't, like it doesn't have any other place to put it. And the fat cells are like frat houses. They'll just take anybody, right? And money in there. So it stores like the excess, like triglycerides and fat and whatever, but they'll store that excess estrogen because fat cells are like balloons. They'll expand to take in what it needs, what your body asks it to. And then when you burn the fat, you release the fat and all the other stuff with it. So if you're bottom heavy because you have estrogen dominance, what you really have is an estrogen clearance issue. So how do you support estrogen clearance? Are you pooping regularly? Okay, because one way estrogen leaves your body is through your poop. And I don't know a better way to say that.
Do it. Bring on the poop.
Increase your leafy greens. Okay. Increase foods that have fiber. Or take a fiber supplement, And then also make sure you're drinking lots of water. Okay, so those are 3 things to just help the digestive tract. You can also like make sure you're getting your probiotics in to support your gut health. Okay, secondly is to support your liver. Your liver is your main tool for detoxification. Anything the body doesn't need, want, or if it's harmful, it goes to the liver. So if your liver is backlogged and it's not functioning right, it's not going to be able to get rid of the estrogen it needs to. So it's going to send it through a complicated process back to the fat cells. What the liver does is it'll send out toxins through the kidney, then through the urine, or it'll send it back into the intestines and get it out through the poop. The third way your liver can get rid of toxins is through your skin, through sweat. That's why making sure you're pooping regularly, making sure you're supporting your liver with proper nutrients, as well as getting sweaty through exercise is really important. So those are 3 things you can do to help support estrogen clearance. Now, is this lady also like, is she in between menstruation and menopause? Is she in perimenopause?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. This is super common with women who are transitioning, like going through the change. Your body's actually producing less estrogen, but I can't get into all of it today. Something else that she could think about doing is to do seed cycling.
Seed cycling. Yeah. Lay that on us.
Yep. Yeah. Do you want me to take the time? Because I know at the beginning we said like 20 minutes.
I know we did. Let's see. You know what? Let's just keep going. Go a little bit into the seed cycling, and then maybe we'll wind down after that. Sure. But yeah, because I think that's important. Yeah.
And just if anybody is wanting more info on seed cycling, I'm actually doing this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like a crash course on seed cycling in my group. So if you want to jump into my group just for those 3 days, you're welcome to, and then jump back out, or you can hang around and stay. But that's where I'm hosting it. Okay, so seed cycling. Why would you do it? The nutrients in the seeds and the ones you eat at specific times of the month literally help your body to have the tools it needs to regulate the hormones, okay? Remember, hormones are communicators, they're messengers, and your hormones need nutrients. They need them to function. So giving your body those nutrients helps your estrogen and progesterone levels. Basically, you're going to want to take flaxseed and pumpkin seed, and you want to eat those every day while you're on your period until you ovulate, okay? It's 1 tablespoon a day. Like, it's not much.
Put it in a shake.
Yep, put it in a shake. Grind them up. Throw them in your granola. Yep. Put them in the applesauce, whatever. And then after you ovulate until you get your next period, eat sesame seed and sunflower seed. Again, grind them up. Put whatever. It's like literally I put them in my meal replacement shake every morning. I always
put them on your leafy greens in a salad.
Leafy greens. Yeah, it was 1 tablespoon of each every day. It can take a couple months for you to start feeling the effects of it, but literally, I started seed cycling in my experience. I can't promise it for you. It took away my ovulation cramps, and my week before my period, I didn't even know my period was coming because I didn't feel so yucky.
Awesome.
Like, it took away so many of my PMS symptoms, and then my period was happier too. It was a little bit easier, it was a little bit shorter, and that happened month 2, and then into month 3. Month 4 was rough because that was after all the COVID stuff hit, and we went through that great upheaval, and stress will knock your system off track like nothing else.
Right.
So if your period's been weird lately, just think to what has happened in the last 2 to 4 weeks, and that's probably why your period's kind of messed up right now. But anything you can do starting now to support it, including seed cycling, is going to help it in 4 to 6 weeks.
It's beautiful. That's like in alignment what I speak of all the time is the idea of like caring for your future self, right? That the actions that you take and do today are benefiting the well-being of your future self. So like be kind to her today.
You can't fix who you were yesterday, but you can support you can support who you are now and who you will be in the future.
Exactly. So let me see. So there's one last question from Nina. She says, so should I boost this routine after my period the most? Does that make sense?
When she says this routine, I'm kind of curious to know which routine. Seed cycling?
I'm not sure because I think she posted up maybe before seed cycling.
All right, yeah, I mean, honestly, start today. Just
start today, yeah.
Figure out where you are in your cycle and just start with whatever's appropriate for that phase. You don't have to wait till you get your period to do any of this. You can start incorporating. And my one last piece of wisdom is you will not be, you can't do everything. We've told you a lot of tools today, but there's no way you're going to be able to start all of this and just be like, every master was once a disaster, right?
Yes.
Like pick one thing that you can work on for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 until it really becomes a habit. That one thing might be, I'm going to seed cycle. It might be, I'm going to work on my fiber. It might be, I'm going to work on my leafy greens. It could be, I'm going to work on my self-care. But just remember, as women, we are not expected to fix things overnight. We are not magicians. And so this journey of learning to listen to her and give her what she needs is a long time process. I'm not even talking a month. I'm talking a year.
Yeah.
2 years. Like, set your expectations reasonable here.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing. Get it under control, and then add something else.
I love it. I love it, everybody. So maybe you guys, after listening to this conversation here, think to yourself what that one thing is, and please share it with us. I will do the same thing. I'll comment below. I'll let you know my one focus and one thing from what I've taken away from this. And let's support each other in this, because I think that this is really important. And everything, I agree with everything you said, Anna. Thank you so much for being with us today. And beautiful beings, be gentle on yourselves. Love yourselves. Take it one day at a time. We're here to support you. And I'll put all the resources to her group and her website and all that stuff. If you want to join her for seed cycling coming up, you can do that. And again, drop any questions that you have going forward. But thanks for your time today, Anna. This was so fun.
I love this. It just lights me up. I feel so amazing after being able to share with you. So thank you for having your space. Y'all have good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Be kind to yourselves.
Yes, be kind to yourselves. Okay, thank you everybody for joining us. Bye.